Good afternoon. Afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's well. As usual, we'll kick off the live section, then we'll go into a 10:30 tonight. If we're all good at the back. All ready in the front? We'll kick off with Gail from Sky.
Yeah. Can we just do a little bit of team news to start? Hi. Did everyone come through okay? And could you just give us a little update as well when we might see Ben White back in the squad, and also Saka range of when he might be available to you, please?
No news from the game against City, and Ben is still out. Hopefully after the break he will be available.
And Saka?
No, not yet.
No, I know not yet, but you sort of said sort of mid-March maybe?
I don't know.
When we sat here on Friday, you talked about these big games meaning more than just the points, the boost, the emotion, the sense of momentum. As you kind of arrived at training ahead of this game, how different is the feeling around the place, and how much can you tap into that with what you've got ahead tomorrow night?
Next stop is a final in Wembley, so we know how big that is, and you can feel it. You can feel it straight away. The boost that the game gave us, winning against City, the manner that we did it, and the fact that it's a game that is the closest competition we are into a final, so we're going to give it a real go.
As you're very well aware, the window was shut last night, and without bringing the reinforcements that you said you'd have hoped or liked to have brought in. Were you close? And the work that you've done over the last few weeks, how much will that help going into the summer of knowing exactly who you want in terms of reinforcements, particularly in the striker position?
We had a clear intention, which is always there is a window open to explore the opportunities to improve our squad with players that can impact it. We haven't achieved it, so yeah, we are disappointed in that sense, but as well we are very aware that that we only want to bring certain kind of players, and we have to be very disciplined with that as well, and I think that we were.
Okay, cool. And we'll go to Ian from TalkSport.
Hi, Mikel. How are you?
Hello.
Arsenal haven't beaten Newcastle for the last 4 or 5 games, becoming a bit of a bogey team for you. I mean, can you just talk about when you come up against a team you haven't beaten for a while? And as a player, did you ever have a bogey team?
I didn't know that word, but it's another one. They are a very difficult team to play against. They've been different games. We beat them at home last year in a good way. Obviously, this season has been different with 2 very different games as well, I think. So, yeah, another opportunity ahead of us, a big one that can take us to Wembley. So, really looking forward to it.
Did you ever have a team as a player you could never beat or you had trouble beating?
Barcelona, never beat them. That was one.
Everybody had trouble with Barcelona. Arsenal haven't won the League Cup. I was amazed by this. Arsenal haven't won the League Cup since 1993. They've only ever won it twice. Does that amaze you that this trophy Arsenal have got a great record in?
Yes, because with other cups, domestic cup, we have an unbelievable record. So, yeah, historically it's been difficult and tough. So, good opportunity again to make history.
And idiots like me sat here in January telling you you need a striker, but you scored 5 against City, you've won your last 4 games, scoring 11 goals in the process. So you must be confident that you can go to Newcastle and score the number of goals you need.
Yeah, there are 2 separate things. One, obviously, I think we talk very openly from my side, a club perspective, about the intention to improve the squad if we have the capacity to do it, and then most importantly, to keep improving the team, to keep improving the individuals within the team, because it's the ones that we have and we love, and that's it. And from now, there's no discussion about it, and we focus in the things that we have continued to do, even though the window was open.
And last one for me: the players get nervous in a semi-final. Does the manager get nervous in the semi-final?
I don't know if that's the word, excited for sure, willing, hungry, enthusiastic, because we are very close to play a final, and hopefully we can achieve it tomorrow.
Thanks, Ian. Because Harry from BBC.
Yeah, there's been lots of talk about strikers, but obviously when you've got players contributing goals from all over the pitch, that really, really does help. Myles Skelly was great at the weekend, not just in his goal, not just in the celebration, but overall. Could you just expand a little bit on how his rise has kind of gone down in the dressing room? Because William Saliba told us after the game that he's not surprised anymore by how well he's playing.
Yeah. Well, probably the players are the best to express how they feel about them. In this particular case with Myles, because they are sitting next to each other, they share the pitch, which is the most important thing. I always said, is how they feel about these young players when they come in. Do they trust them? Do you feel they feel that they are as strong or stronger with them? And that's the feeling that I get. That's why as well we give them the opportunity, because for me they are ready in our eyes, but in the team's feeling as well, they feel that really can be better with them.
I guess it's a similar story for Ethan Nwaneri as well. As a manager, do you feel kind of personally responsible for their development and making sure that that pathway is there for them? And then does that come into your thinking when you do go into the transfer market?
Very much, but with every player, regardless the age. Obviously, the age has a different component, especially when they are not even 18 years old, and we have other cases as well in the team when as parents, I imagine that they rely on us in educating them and in transmitting the right values to them, in looking after them, protect them emotionally, especially, and physically. And it's a lot of responsibility, but thankfully we share it with quite a lot of people, and I think they're in good hands.
Tom, for London.
After the first leg, you said it was only half time, and there's been a big gap. It's been a very long half time since that last game. A lot has happened since then as well, including this huge win at the weekend. Does a win of such size give those players extra confidence that you can turn around the deficit that you have to?
Yeah, probably when you compare the emotional state of the team straight after the defeat and the manner that it happened and how we are today is very different, because we come from very strong performances, some great wins, and especially the last one at home against Man City. So it is momentum, and after that game as well, we have a break. So it's the moment to go, full gas, ready to go for it and try to approach it in the way that we believe is the best one to be in that final.
And after the game in City, I asked you whether you hope Monday would be a good day. And obviously, it maybe didn't go the way that we and you and fans perhaps wanted. Have you been in any way frustrated that it wasn't able to go and bring in kind of the reinforcements that you were very vocal about this window?
No, because when you try your best and you do things with the right process and you see the people that we all share the same intentions and wills, and after you don't achieve it, okay, for sure there are things to learn from it. There always are, but you have to move on, and that's a piece that, okay, was important in the moment, and now we have to move on, and nobody knows whether it is better to done it or no. We will know probably at the end of the season.
Simon, Standard.
Mikel, you talk about being disciplined now in terms of the window. Does that give you hope that in the summer you've got more room to get who you really want to do by sort of not doing anything now and waiting for who you really want?
An extra card. I don't know. What I mean about that is in everything, in the kind of profile, in the kind of play that we believe that can really make us much better financially. There is, in a lot of ways, a lot of things that we must stay in the lane that has taken us this far, and from there try to improve.
And I remember you touched on it before. You spoke a bit about Ethan, sort of long term. You saw him maybe playing as a number 9. I just wonder, given the situation now in terms of options there, are you now kind of accelerating that and thinking maybe in these sort of 4 or 5 months you might have to play him as a striker? Is that something you're considering?
We're going to have to be very flexible in the front line, and now the ones that we have on our fit, make sure that they stay fit and they keep contributing. Leo can play in that position. Raheem has played in that position. Ethan, I think, can play in that position. Martinelli can play there. So let's see in relation to how everybody is, moment, opponent. But at some point, I think we're going to have to try something different.
Art Athletic.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
You touched on the break that's coming up after the Newcastle game. I was just going to ask, is the Dubai trip something that's coming up? Can you confirm that?
I think it's coming, yes.
Obviously, last year wasn't the first time you went there. You went a few years before as well. I was wondering, do you kind of keep it similar every time you go, or do you kind of change up how you, I guess, do all the non-football stuff to kind of keep people fresh?
There is a lot of things that will be very similar. Location, where we are staying, where we trained, but then obviously we have to modify it. We're going to be in a different moment of the season, different numbers. Probably the team needs other stimulus, other things. So we are preparing a few things. Hopefully it will work like it has worked in the last few times.
And just on Ethan, he's getting close to a record that was set by Michael and Wayne Rooney for goals scored before turning 18. And I was just wondering, with records, are those things you kind of encourage your players about? Because I remember you talking about Saka and kind of legacy was a word you kind of mentioned in relation to him. So would that be something you kind of encourage going for records and stuff like that?
No, I wasn't aware of that record. The only thing that I want with him is that he continues to do what he's doing, you know, and play with that freedom, with that tenacity when he's on the pitch, and with that confidence, because he's got the ability to make it happen. And whether he does that or not, it will be a matter of time.
James, ESPN.
Mikel, I know you've been asked a lot about the market already, but could you just break it down for us? Was it a case that the right player simply wasn't available this month?
I wouldn't like to go into much detail. You know, we couldn't do it for certain reasons, and we have to accept it. That's it.
Can you give me one of those reasons? What were those reasons? Was it money? Was it the right fit?
It was a combination of things.
Because I mean, you've done so much in your 5 years here to change the culture, you know, in the dressing room, and it's so positive here now. Is part of it that you don't want to gamble on maybe a character you're not sure of? Was part of that, you know, thinking that you want to make sure you wait for the right person?
No, that wasn't part of the process. That wasn't an issue. I mean, with any player that we were trying to find.
And just finally for me, I was watching an interview that you gave with Sky last week. You talked about the size of the squad being very short last summer. You said you had 19 outfield players, 3 of them were coming back from serious injury. You kind of knew then it was a bit of a risk. Given that, how much of a gamble is it, do you feel, not to add numbers in this window?
You know, gamble is reality. I think we have to face the reality as well that we have. We have the players that we have. Some of them are on loan. We never had a squad of 35, 40, 45 players. So many other clubs, they have 45 players in their list. We don't have that size at the moment. It's our reality. We have to do so much in the last few years that where we are. So we're going to have to evolve there as well and have more players from the academy, and the ones that are here to be fitter longer. That's a job that is permanent and it keeps evolving, and we need to be in our toes.
Okay, finally in the live section we'll go to Phil at the back from PA.
Just sort of follow on from that theme, you're slightly worried until we don't have enough numbers for to compete for the Premier League and to compete in Europe?
No, now I focus on the numbers that we have, how to maximize them, how to make the best out of them, and listen, with all the problems that we already had, we are in February, and I think it's remarkable what the team has done, so I have full faith in them.
Well, obviously Kai's had his critics, but now we all know that he's the main man going into the second half of the season. Do you think he'll thrive on that he's sort of your solo forward?
Well, I think Kai has played so many games and it's been so important when other players, some big players as well, were available, you know. So it's not because a player is not coming in his position that's going to be more important. From my opinion, there's nothing to do with that.
Okay, that finishes the live section.